Hi guys, my name is Chef Alex Oke, pastry chef by trade and the owner of XO Boutique Bakery, Victoria Island, Lagos, Nigeria. I've been working as a chef commercially for about 5 years now, but I've had my own bakery for about 2 years. Before transitioning to chef life, I was in business. I was a marketing consultant, analyst, trade marketing. I did that for about 5 years. This is all before I did my master's and then went on to culinary school. When I made the decision to switch my career from a 9-to-5 office type job to working as a chef, my parents had the initial concerns I think that any caring parents would have. Are you sure you would be able to make ends meet? You have a well-paying job, why leave it? But they were always supportive, so were my friends. But for my friends, it was a bit more surprising. Although I liked to cook and I was always like the grill master, the one making breakfast for everyone, they never thought that I liked it enough to do it professionally. I think the first thing I did was, because this is when I trained in Canada, in Vancouver, to be a pastry chef. First thing I did was I went on social media and I literally Googled on Google top chefs in Nigeria, most famous chefs in Nigeria. And I looked at, because keep in mind, I hadn't been in Nigeria for like 15 years at this point, or 16 years. So I didn't really know what was going on in the country anymore. And so I had to get myself, I hadn't even visited. So I had to get myself up to date with what people were doing with regard to food and all of that. So I looked to see who was sort of the go-to person here, who knew a lot about the food scene, and literally sent them messages and said, hey, this is my plan. I want to come out there. What's good out there? What's bad out there? Is it something you would advise a young chef to do? I literally just introduced myself to the people I consider as the experts or the best at what they do out here. So, first of all, life was great because I moved in 2015 right before the recession, right? It was awesome. I was like, wow, there's so much money out here, man. I was like, it's a sexy time to be a chef. Everything's great. I'm the chef groupies. It's fantastic. But then 2016 hit, right? And then 2017, I was like, yo, recession things, man. The recession really hit us hard in the food industry because although food is seen as a basic need, what I do in terms of pastries and patisserie and high-end pastries and high-end catering, dinner parties, a bit of not necessarily an excess, but it's not an essential, So for me, it became a thing where people maybe cut back a little bit, and being that I was just new at that time, I wasn't established with a long clientele list. Couple of points there, I was like, yo, did I make the right move? Do I pack my bags to go back to Canada? What do I do? So there's a lot of uncertainty. Things were very rosy, then things were sort of bad, and now things are getting better again. I think things are looking really, really good. It's very encouraging. I'm quite happy. I don't really regret it. I actually moved back to Nigeria to open a bakery. So this was my goal. And everything I did up till this point was in preparation for this. So listen, there'll never be the right time. Find a space, don't wait for things to be perfect, just do it. And that's what we did. So there are always the same challenges that we face working in this part of the world. Sourcing is a big part of it. The supply lines that are necessary to do what we do, to maintain the same standard and quality that we maintain, is always tricky. Today they have butter, tomorrow they don't have butter, next day butter has gone up by 50%, And then how do you fight with, you don't want to pass that on to the customer, but somebody needs to pay for this ultimately. So that's one issue with the supply chain. The next issue would be the labor supply. Turnover in this industry is already notoriously high all over the world. In Nigeria, it's even higher. So just getting people to take pride in their job and literally just show up every day on time That's what I always tell people. It's literally, all it is literally showing up every day. This is not rocket science, what we do. I mean, it is a craft, but the more you repeat it, the better you get at it. So just show up on time and do the same work. Repeat it every day, and you'll be just fine. So, hiring, recruiting, and retaining talent would be another issue. And then, of course, the one that we all deal with across the board in any industry in Nigeria is overhead, right? The cost of overheads and, power generation, water. You have to be your own local government. And for any small business, and there are no tax breaks, mind you. Many places where, where they realize the small business environment is difficult would offer some kind of tax breaks and incentives. We don't do that out here. It's literally, you're on your own. Come out here. We want you to come back. We want you to start businesses here, but we're not going to do anything to help you, So that's my biggest gripe, I guess, is just these day-to-day issues that you wouldn't have to deal with in other places. But it's part of what makes Nigeria, Lagos, unique, and it's part of one of the things I love about it out here. At the end of the day, passion should be what drives you. Are you in it for passion, or are you in it for money? People can tell if you're in it for money, and I think just pursue your passion, the money will come after. More practical advice, right? Get trained. People who pick up a camera and are naturally talented make a very small percentage of the population. People who pick up a paintbrush and can create a masterpiece, also a very small percentage. So go through apprenticeship programs, go through formal education, train yourself or invest in yourself such that you have a solid foundation upon which to build a career. So passion in itself is good, yes, but also follow up that passion with a bit of investment. Every year, I take some time out to go and take a master class from the best pastry chef in the world. I find the best pastry chef in the world at some point, and then I go take a class with them. Because no matter where you are, you can always learn from the industry best practices, and you just by being in a forum where people are sharing these practices, you become better. Don't waste time doing all those undergrad degrees. But no. I don't think that's a good. I don't think, a lot of parents are gonna say, Chef Alex, that's bad advice. Don't give that advice. No, but you don't always find your passion at a young age. So it's kind of difficult. Hindsight is always 20/20, right? And looking back, you tell yourself, why did I waste all that time doing all those degrees that I didn't need? But then I think back, so my undergrad degree in management and economics prepared me. Now I can look at balance sheets, I can look at when my accountant brings numbers to me, or when my auditors prepare a financial audit, I can understand these numbers. And now I start to understand why my parents were so, what's the word? They really wanted me to do this. It's because I think all the skills that you learn by getting your undergrad in whatever discipline prepares you for whatever you might choose to do later on in life. Being a starving artist is good if you stop starving eventually and you make it, but what if you don't make it? All my experiences in the past have led me ultimately to where I am now. So no, I think I'm very, very happy. It's part of God's plan, right, for me, and I'm very receptive to that. I have a lot of faith that I am in the right place. Even though things may be a bit tough every once in a while, I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be.